Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another study with me, plan with me in my A5 academic planner. So my next assignment that I need to get done is all about conducting a small scale qualitative research study. So it has a lot of parts to it, but I only have to interview 3 or 4 participants. So it's not a dissertation, but it's kind of a mini dissertation, I suppose. So I'm going to map out what I need to get done to get started. So I suppose the first part of any research is to choose a kind of a broad topic for your research project. And in this research project, I am actually going to do, I don't like this pen, I'm just going to change my pen. I am going to do it on the concept of mindfulness, but in a leadership context. So how does mindfulness, if at all, affect how your leadership style or how you carry yourself in a professional setting? So therefore, my participants are going to have to be managers or in a leadership role. And not all managers are, buy into the topic of mindfulness. So it'll be very interesting to see what the results are. So then I will need to define my actual research question. Okay, I will have to present my findings in an academic paper style. I will have to do a mapping exercise. So the lecturer wants us to map out our findings against the literature that we've reviewed. So, picking out quotes from your interviews and finding a paper that suits that or that mirrors what the person is saying. I have to write an abstract and then complete the paper with the appendices, the interview questions, the transcripts, all of that. Okay, so this is actually due on the 20th. Today is 13th. Yes, I am that far into the deadline. As you might have known by watching my channel, I am the queen of procrastination, and it's only when a deadline is looming that I can actually get something over the line. But I did work on this a little last week, and I'm going to insert a time lapse again because that seemed to go down well the last time I did that. So today is all about just pulling the paper together, finishing it, finalizing it, extracting the data from the interviews itself, and coming up with my concluded paper. Okay, then I do have another assignment due on the 27th, and that one is about well-being strategy. So I need to start planning on what I'm going to do for that. But that's only 2,000 words. So compared to the ones I've been doing lately, that's actually very small and quite manageable. So maybe my next video will be about the well-being strategy one. Okay, so I have a plan. At least I have my question and all that. So yeah, let me just insert the time lapse for you, and hopefully when I come back I will have it all done. back with the finished product, and now that I've pulled it all together, I will give you a look. So it is 35 pages long, so I wasn't going to print it out and waste that paper, but I have written my introduction all about mindfulness and leadership and things I have observed as a HR manager myself, kind of just the reason for the study, the research aim, and then the primary research question ended up being, how do workplace leaders experience and interpret the role of mindfulness in their leadership practice? And then just some sub questions I had were, how do leaders define or understand mindfulness within the context of their work? In what ways, if any, does mindfulness influence their decision making or interactions with team members? And what factors support or hinder the integration of mindfulness into their day-to-day leadership? Okay, so then I went into the methodology, so the design. So the research approach was a qualitative one. We were using RTA, which is reflexive thematic analysis, and that's all about reading over your data over and over again and extracting themes. We did structured interviews with leaders in my own workplace, and then the data was analysed. Okay, so then I moved on to presenting my findings. Some of the themes that were emerging were mindfulness as emotional grounding, so being able to feel your presence and be present as a leader. Emotional regulation. So there was some mixed attitudes and cultural influence. So some people were resistant and a bit skeptical of the whole idea of mindfulness, and then others really were embracing mindfulness. And then the next theme that emerged was organizational readiness and mindfulness integration. So practical integration needs, what did they, the idea around psychological safety and feeling comfortable in being able to, express what they need to be mindful in work. And then this theme of a shifting culture. So some of the participants were talking about the fact that because we are now putting such an emphasis on well-being in work, that they felt comfortable and ready and in expressing, talking about mindfulness or being able to take that time just to practice it. And that is in part down to me, because of the fact that I'm leading on our wellbeing initiatives and I'm encouraging staff to be more open about that. And in part to this course as well, that's what I'm learning, I'm applying practically in the workplace, and it's starting to shift the culture a little bit, according to the leaders that I interviewed for this anyway. Okay, so then I pulled out all the findings. This is all their quotes under the themes. And then we did the mapping exercise. So this is about mapping those themes against the literature and comparing it, against the broader leadership and mindfulness literature that's out there already. Okay, and then I wrote my abstract. I have my academic references, and then all of the consent forms and the actual transcripts from the interviews are included as appendices. And then I did a bit of a mapping out, my workings around getting to those findings, so the codes, and the themes and the consent form. So yeah, happy to have that over the line. This was one of the bigger ones that I needed to finish, so it's great to have another one ticked off the box. So another one done and dusted, using my trusty planner to help me get there. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about my career just at the end of the video. So I am doing this postgraduate degree in leadership in workplace health and well-being, and in September I will be able to either stop or pay $2,500 and continue on and get a master's. So I have decided that I'm going to take the diploma and in the well-being at that point and finish up, and I'm going to switch my master's into a master's in human resource management. And the reason I'm doing that, I already have an undergrad degree in HRM. However, I really want to go for the chartered CIPD status, which is a higher professional qualification than I have. And in order to do that, I need to do a CIPD accredited master's. So what that means is that I will be studying until 2027 part-time. However, that'll be it then. I won't need to do any more after that. And I will have the professional qualification that I'm aiming for. So yeah, a big decision, but I'm excited about it. So hopefully you'll stay tuned, and if you like this type of content, I'll do more, and they will be kind of HR related after September, and will always include some element of planning content as well. So thanks guys, thanks for watching.